Is your brand an asset that is actually adding revenue to your bottom line? Welcome back to the Patient Magnet. I am super excited to have Chris Boyle here from Optimized Aesthetics. And today we're going to be talking all about branding and how you can build a premium brand that actually has equity in the market. So thank you, Chris, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is out of all things to talk about, it's one of the things I'm most passionate about. This is one thing that gets me pretty fired up. And I know when you and I get to chat, and it's why I love connecting with you, because we both can get really fired up about this. And I think I have a really interesting perspective now, and in you as well, now that we are building our own brands individually, but we've also walked through multiple other businesses and helped them in really unique ways, from online with social media to in person, and then even their website, which I do think all of those things come down to that is your brand. That's how you are showing up online.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of interesting things about Chris and Victoria, his wife. But maybe, Chris, if you were to give yourself permission to brag about what you've done in the branding space for yourselves over the last 2 years, Victoria has 120,000 followers that you guys have built on her esthetician brand?
Yep, yeah. So Victoria's at 120,000, which is a spa page. It's just Victoria as of right now. But it is a local spa still. She is not an influencer. We built that whole brand getting clients in the door, which I do think is very unique and different than the way some people build. But going back a little bit before that, Victoria actually had a more of an influencer style Instagram when she used to work for Medspa. It was called Skin by Victoria. And I helped build that account up to 25,000 followers, doing a lot of brand deals. This was a few years back. That was before we had our own business, but I helped drive that marketing strategy and that plan to build that Instagram up until we got to a point where we decided to open up our own business. And I had Victoria leave that Instagram, which was very a struggle for her when she built up to 25,000 followers, and start completely from scratch out here in Arizona and build a local following to actually get clients in the door, which is most people can't comprehend walking away from 25,000 followers, but I knew that we wanted a hyper-focused local following that would actually drive people to come into the spa and book services. And I knew that if I was going to be fighting against the wind with an Instagram that was at that point really spread across the US and spread across the world. So started Skin by You within 3 years, built up to 120,000 followers over there, and we're still building and still growing. One of my more proud accomplishments as well with Skin by You is actually building a community outside of Instagram. So we have a community called the Esthetician Growth Community that we host on Patreon. We currently have 2,000 members on that community, and that's a really dialed in community of people who are engaging and paying monthly to be a part of this community. And we'll circle back with that later, because I think building a brand that really resonates and can connect with people and pull them to actually move off platform is where I think that's where you could go. Does the brand actually matter?
And then I'd say that thirdly, audience that I was gonna say, and that audience you've built for Victoria, when people when I have girls that'll say, I've got 15,000 followers, 20,000 followers, 30,000 followers, that oftentimes will be followed up with, I posted 5 bikini pictures and that's how I got there. Like what I appreciate about Victoria is she's modest, reasonable. It's like what she's putting on there. She's attracting authentic people, not just like, she posts this really beautiful looking model-esque picture and, her audience is 70% guys or something like that. It's like actual people
or women who want to cheer on, right?
Or women who are like, you go girl, whatever. But her audience is true blue esthetician. Sorry, you're going to make a third point, and I just wanted to make a note about that audience.
No, of course, and that's a really great point too. And we're going to talk a lot about with brand today, but that's also important. Is we built Victoria with that Instagram with a very slow growth, and that's important. We're already going to kind of give you guys some little hints here, or some little some bite-sized things for you to take away. But taking that slow growth when building a brand and not chasing virality is really important. So Victoria and I, we were posting 3 times a day on Skin by You when we first opened up that business. And nothing went viral. We didn't have some kind of shoot of followers that got us tens of thousands of followers overnight. everything was really slow. I'd say it took us almost, I'd say 8 months till we got our first kind of viral video, but we just had really good, consistent, slow growth. But that made the audience really hyper engaged. So we were connecting almost with all the followers as they were coming in. And that's what makes it really special compared to just getting some viral video, getting 20,000 followers, and even not posting bikini pictures. But then when you post a before and after and everyone goes, I followed you because you posted something funny. And that's not going to get people in to book appointments, and it's not going to really build the brand long term. But we'll talk about more of that in a little bit. But thirdly, I'd like to say one of my biggest accomplishments now is with Optimized Aesthetics, which is Victoria and myself's I'd say kind of coaching and marketing business. We teach estheticians how to build more revenue, how to have better client experiences. And now we're just building a community of estheticians to connect and learn from each other. We just had our first event. We sold out with 160 attendees. We have another event coming April of 2027 in St. Petersburg, Florida. We have a wait list of over 450 people. And the wait list just came out last weekend. And then Optimized Aesthetics Instagram, I've been taking the charge there now and kind of building a personal brand myself through this, and we have 6,000 followers already on Optimized Aesthetics, and this has been also very slow growth. So, I didn't really piggyback off of Skin by You's followers. We didn't have everyone just follow and jump over there. We don't shout out that Instagram and say, everyone come and follow. We really wanted to build something that people are only coming to follow that Instagram if they want to kind of come down the cycle and either join the Patreon or watch our podcast or come to a live event. So even there, we've spent 2 years. I was going to tell you this today, Jared. We have 500 posts that we've made since starting the Optimized Aesthetics Instagram in 2 years. Oh
my gosh. You said you had 6,000 followers today on Optimized?
Yep.
Okay, for reference, everybody, less than a month ago, or maybe actually exactly a month ago was their show, and Chris and I had the same amount of followers on Instagram, or Optimized, and Jared Rohr's page had the same amount of followers. We were at 2,800-ish or 2,900-ish, something like that. So in less than a month, that page has doubled.
Yep, and I think, we just had the first event, and that helped a lot. And we posted a teaser for the next one, but that really just shows how dialed in the brand is, where when people land on the Instagram, we're not incentivizing. We haven't done any giveaways. These are people that can clearly identify what this company does, what Optimized Aesthetics does, and they want to be a part of it. And that's what we'll jump on that. And I don't want to talk about myself all day, and I want to talk about what you can do as a med spa or as a solo injector, as an esthetician. These principles can all apply. And I know sometimes it can feel, you watch somebody else do it. Well, it's different for them. It's different for them. And I've done this now with enough businesses now, and even learning it myself to go, no, the principles apply to everywhere. And we can jump off right with the first point. Jared, I don't know if you want to intro it, but being a human being behind the brand.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do today is we're going to give you 3 things that you can do in order to properly brand yourself so that you drive actual growth in your business. It's not about follower growth. It is not about subscriber growth. It is about business growth and leveraging that attention to do it. So Chris is going to give us 3 things that you can do today to increase that brand value and turn it into the asset that you've always deserved.
Yep.
So number 1 is be a human. Is that what you said?
Be a human, I guess, is the easiest way to say it. And this
be a human.
Yep, and this is something you could apply to everywhere. We're going to specifically talk about socials first. And one of the biggest things that I see that I know most med spas struggle with is your profile picture. And this may seem very simple for you and like it doesn't matter, but I believe all of these small little things in business is how you create big change and strive and real growth in business. But the profile picture, I know everybody spends a lot of time creating this logo, and that logo, you start to, it's your baby. We've created logos in the past for our businesses, and especially if you pay a company to come and do it for you, you're like, I put money behind this. We spent months, ideating and curating the most perfect logo for our business, and that's what everybody needs to see me as. And on socials these days, there's a few big issues here. We're also going to talk about AI a little bit, which I think will be a fun conversations with social media. But there's so many businesses now, And now the barrier to entry to start a business is very easy. And this is why it's important for myself to still be deep in kind of the aesthetic industry with Victoria still actively taking clients and working, is because things change quickly. And I think 5 years ago, having a logo was a flex because there wasn't a lot of businesses on Instagram. And you can catch eyeballs by having a logo as your profile picture because most people on the platform were following their friends and family. There wasn't, the businesses were expanding and growing. I'm not going to say nothing was there, but it was still a place where a business logo, especially a beautiful logo as your profile picture, I believe could really stop the scroll on somebody and make them come and check out and see what you do. And that's where things have just changed. Now, everybody is starting a business. A lot of people are starting businesses and just leaving the business, right? You have teenagers who can use Canva to just create their own logo, launch a business, and never post ever again. But because of that, it really muddies up the space where everything becomes a logo. And this is where I also like to, go back to that being a human being, is that we are not Amazon, we are not Walmart, we are not Target, where those businesses are a logo. They're huge. It's corporate America, right? We are small businesses. We're human beings, and we're looking to connect. And what I've been telling estheticians a lot and med spas is that people are coming for you. Right nowadays, especially Jared, the med spa industry with the acquisition and buying.
They're coming for the injector. Like people are searching best injector near me, and like myself, for example, I think I could count 5 people that I would let put a needle in my face. It is not 5 brands that I would let put a needle in my face. The only place that I would let every single injector at that clinic inject me because I know all of their work is Shino Bay. And I've been injected by Shino, by Dr. Sorrell, by Kelly, and they're all incredible. However, I can think of 5 people that I'd be like, yeah, you can inject me with Tox, no problem. I trust you, and it is not a, oh yeah, if I go to that company, I know that I'm going to get anybody that's good. You have to optimize for the best injector or the best esthetician, or the best practitioner that's doing the job. That's why plastic surgeons are famous, that people go to a plastic surgeon, typically not a plastic surgery institute of like, oh, all of our plastic surgeons are the best. Usually it's an individual that has just the magic hands,
That's interesting about Shino Bay too. And that's where, and you've met all of them before, but you might have so much trust in Shino Bay that you go, anybody that he trains and comes under him is phenomenal. But that's what goes back to when it comes to building the med spas. I know you build your med spa as the name of the spa, and it's not always you individually. And we're anti. If you guys don't know, Victoria, my wife, our spa is called Skin by You. And the reason why we built it instead of Skin by Victoria or Victoria's name is that we did want to expand one day, and we wanted to create a brand that was bigger than her. And for now, we're 3 years in, and it's still just Victoria. We're currently training another esthetician to come under us, but we always wanted to have that option.
It's noisy to have noun by first name. Because noun by first name is what everybody instinctively does, because now it's just trendy. Hair by Jared, or rather shaved by Jared, injections by so-and-so, face by so-and-so. It's fine if you have that. We're not making fun of you, but it's noisy where it's way harder for people to know it. Since everyone does it, it's way harder for them to identify you. If you have something like Skin by You, it's like, oh wait, actually, hold on. That's unique and interesting, and it kind of locks in. People think my last name is Roars. They call me Jared Roars on stage, and I think I just have to get okay with that, because that's what my handles are across all of social media.
Let's bring back the creativity of finding an audience and building a business creatively, and not to be mean, but I feel like it can be a lazy route of just taking your name and making that the business. And to me now, I'm heavily online, and I'm meeting a lot of business owners, and the ones that catch my eye are the ones that are building their names and the whole business around that name. And just to give you guys a little bit of context here with Skin by You, we were inspired, or I myself, I don't want to take full credit, I did come up with the Skin by You name, but I saw all of the Skin by Your name, and we came from Skin by Victoria, and I was like, to me, it felt a little bit self-centered, like businesses were building based off the esthetician's back. And we went and built and went, no, we're just here to support. We're here to guide the client on their skincare journey. Victoria is just their guide. It's not about you have to come see Victoria or else you can't clear your skin. It's like, you got this. We're just going to empower you. We're going to give you the tools as the client to build some or to clear your skin. And all I'm here is just to support you and love you through that. But I love that. And I see other names, business owner names that I go, that like, let's bring that back, guys. Let's not get lazy when it comes to building a business and go, you're here to connect with people. And I do like the idea of having a business where if you ever wanted to sell, it's not fully attached to your name. Now, Chino Bay is one of those cool names where maybe he probably...
It's like Louis Vuitton. It's like Louis Vuitton. It's like, that technically is a guy's name, but it's also... Now, Chris, you did just say, so you need to clarify for everybody. You did just say, make sure that your Instagram is super personal, make it superhuman. But then you also just said, make sure you have a brand that is not you. How do they balance that?
That's an amazing question. I think that's where most people are getting stuck, is that they are doing those things both. And it's okay to have a brand that feels large and still have a human being behind it. And I think that's where we struggle as small businesses, comparing ourselves a lot of times, not always to the Amazons and the Targets, but really the med spa up the street. And this is where I believe the industry can become an echo chamber. And this is one of me and Victoria's biggest mission over the next couple years, is to really break down why we're doing things. And I think as a business, every place in business, if you're an injector and you're injecting and something doesn't seem right, most of them are going to take a step back and go do a bunch of research and figure out why they're injecting that or how they're injecting, what they're putting in people's skin, but they're not doing the same with their business. So look at your business and go, am I doing this because everybody else is doing this, or am I doing this because I have a strategy in mind? And I do believe that's where the biggest issue is. These big med spas pop up, they open up 6 locations, they franchise, they spend tens of thousands of dollars a month on ads, and it's cold, right? It's so cold. But us as small businesses, we don't have that same luxury to go and basically pay to play. We can't have the same churn as these big med spas. We don't have some giant, pocketbook full of cash just to keep spending to drive people in the door. We do need that connection in the beginning. And I like to say that, I don't know if that worries some people to try to be on Instagram a lot more in the beginning, but it doesn't always have to be this way. You just need to build it in the beginning. This also gives you the tools, the understand, the know-how to grow on socials, to go and teach your next injector, your next esthetician how you did it successessily. But I do believe in the beginning, if you're not fully booked up, you got to show yourself online.
Yeah. Okay. So I was gonna say, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I have been recently, the amount of sweat and work that I have put in to building my own personal brand stronger over the last 60 days, or the last 2 months, the results have been dynamite. But I have worked my butt off. And if you are somebody that says, oh, well, I didn't sign up to be a marketer. I didn't do this so that I could be on social media. I didn't do this so that I could be, listen to me, with all the love in the world, go work for somebody. Go work for somebody. You don't have to market yourself. You don't have to. You can go work for somebody else's business, and they'll market you, and they'll keep the majority of the profit. If you want to be a business owner, you have to be a business owner. Meaning, in my opinion, you should be marketing 2 to 3 hours to 4 hours a day until you're crossing the $1 million threshold. If you're a med spa, until you're crossing the $2 million threshold. If you're an esthetician, maybe until you cross the $500,000 threshold. You should be, if you have a gap in your schedule, that time is used for making content. If you've got a gap in your content, that time is used. If you're like, oh, I only treat a day a week or 2 days a week or 3 days a week, the other 2 days, 3 days, 4 days a week, you should be just full time getting as much attention as physically possible to your business. I am sick of trying to make people feel better about like, oh, I know it's hard, but you just got to try. I'm like, no, it's hard and you're going to do it. And that's what's going to make you successful. No more me making you feel better about it. Go out there and sweat and put the work in, because anybody who is ambitious enough to build themselves a business, I know they can work. They just need to work smart. So that's my soapbox. I'm getting a little pissy about it recently because I hear people like, oh, that's hard. I'm like, great, go work for somebody. If you don't want to do the work, you don't get the results. So, I'm kind of like getting I'm less empathetic these days, especially because I personally we have a $1 million agency, and I dedicate 2 hours a day to content creation. I dedicate multiple hours a day as the CEO to content creation. And I think that anybody, we have a team, we have a full-time team of 28 people. And if I can find time to do it, so can you.
Yeah,
You know,
and the doors that open from building a brand too, and you are right, and I always try to be nice, but you are right. There's
no more Mr. Nice Guy.
There's no excuse, but the doors that open when it comes to building a brand, and this is one thing I think it's important too, and you are right. You should that is what you have to do. There's no options. You need to go out and create content. You need to show up online consistently. Correct. You need to figure out in some capacity how social works and how it can work for you. But the thing is what's so amazing about building a brand is it's effective and it works right now and gets clients in the door and makes you money right now. But what is the foundation it sets up for 5 years is insane. Right.
We've tripled our leads in the last 60 days. We've tripled from me just posting I'm posting 45 times a week across all platforms, which is like 5 to 6 times across a bunch of different platforms. So don't freak out. But I say 45 because that's what all the other big dogs do. They're like, I post 50 times a week. And it's like, okay, you post 10 times across 5 platforms. Yep. So it's 10 posts. But since doing that, we've tripled our lead intake, you know, and that's over 60 days.
Yep, and what that does long term for you and the foundations that you're setting to get more speaking engagements, to build a platform on YouTube, to monetize through other platforms, is there's so many long term benefits, and it's not just for right now. This is yourself will thank you in 3 years as you set this foundation. And I say that from our own experience now, is that with Skin by You, we've been setting this foundation for the past 3 years of just becoming an elite esthetician and somebody who shows up consistently online, that everyone knows, every esthetician knows the name of this brand, where now we're at a place where we can sell out 160 people of estheticians across the US and build a 500 person wait list. And this is all from 4 years ago, up us late at night, no money in the bank account, posting on Instagram. And at the time, the whole goal was just to get somebody to come in tomorrow, to get a client tomorrow. But with that mindset and us learning how to utilize social media and figure out who we are as a brand, how Victoria speaks online, how she shows up every single day, set the foundation to build something insane. I mean, we also have a podcast as well. We're averaging, within the first month, our podcast averaged about 500 views. We're exclusively on YouTube right now, so I can just track all those numbers just right in one healthy place. Our guest episodes, we're dropping an episode a week. Both of our last guest episodes are almost at 1,000 views within a couple weeks. Wow. And this is this foundation of consistently, we started the podcast just about 2 years ago as well with 0 views. We didn't pull anything from Skin by You. Victoria was pretty adamant in the beginning about not pulling people over because she was so embarrassed about how she was showing up in this new platform, which leads me to a good quote. Today is the least known you'll ever be online.
True.
That's kind of how we showed up. We just, every week we got up there together and we stumbled through this podcast and we let YouTube push it out to whoever was going to find us. And that was usually 5, 6, 7 people. So now after a couple years of consistently doing that and getting those average of 500 views in a month, and that's just the first month. Most of our podcasts now are averaging about 1,000 views over time. Yeah. But that was laying that foundation back then.
And you can shortcut this, by the way. So Chris has been coaching me the last 2 months. Chris called me 6 months ago and he was like, hey, Jared, I really think you should get on YouTube. I really think you would do well on YouTube. I think you have a lot to say, and it's the perfect avenue for you just to give your thoughts. And we were technically on YouTube, like we posted this podcast. There was no strategy. And so that was 6 months ago. He said that. I was chewing on it for a handful of months after that. And then in January, I said, you know what? I'm going to dive in. And so we ended up hiring a full-time guy internally, but I call Chris multiple times a week. And I'm like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Or he'll text me screenshots and say, hey, that thumbnail is not going to work. Or, hey, the way you did this hook on Instagram, I see why you did it, but try it like this next time. And, in a matter of a month, or in the matter of 2 months, we just crossed 100 subscribers on YouTube, which I'm excited about. We have videos that are hitting 100 regularly now, which is sick. And our shorts are popping off too, which is great. The one we just posted today has a 1 out of 10. But it's because of pulling from people who know what they're talking about. So Chris has just been kind of mentoring me on how to build that content, and I think I've been able to shortcut some of the issues. Like if they have a podcast that I don't think we've had a video that has been under 30 views ever in the last 60 days, you know, so we haven't had to deal with like the pain of like, God, is anyone even seeing this? Because luckily we've had enough coaching that it's kind of like we've shortcutted some of that, some of those issues.
Exactly. But just to kind of wrap up that first idea and where you and I have been going of building as real human beings, and you talking about tripling your leads, and you know what we're able to do in Optimize Aesthetics now, have a wait list over 450 people to buy a ticket for the next event. These are people in line waiting to spend money with us. Right. So, and this is important. And Jared talks about, you know, we love to talk about the views, and it is important that people are going and watching, but the connection. To me, I'm looking at my story responses when I post things. Yesterday, we posted that we went to the Rolex store for the first time, and we're not ready to buy a Rolex quite yet. If my accountant is watching this, we're not buying one right now. But we are, it's a goal of Victoria and myself, and the responses there, that's what we look at. These are people that are hyper engaged with what we're doing. Yeah. And we're just like you. So we're cool. We offer things for people to buy from us, right? So this isn't just us building some kind of influence and building love. This is us putting ourselves out there so people have opportunity to buy. And then just talking really quickly, just, you know, how Victoria built Skin by You, the importance of showing face on brand or online.
Oh yeah, I was going to make a point about that too. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, do you want to jump in first?
What I was saying, and maybe this will add to this, and then you wrap it up, is that big corporations, I know you mentioned Walmart and Target and all them saying, but big corporations do understand this. And this is kind of the one dirty secret that all the big corporations don't want you to know about marketing, is that trust is king. That's why you'll see Progressive has Flow. Geico has the Gecko. You know, Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage has Jones advertising for him. But these brands that understand that you can build equity and trust with a face and a representative of the company, or showing face and showing what your product actually does to add value to people, is invaluable. And the ones who understand that are going to win in 2026.
Yep, and then some of the big companies, even, you know, not all of them, but a few of them launched off the face and off the back of an individual. Like Mark Zuckerberg was Facebook. Elon Musk was Tesla. And, you know, things have changed over time. They've become robots or lizard people. But they did build off, people were connected to these individuals that were building something really, really special. Not that's how everybody jumped on. So I know don't come after me and go, well, I just like the idea of Facebook. But also, like I said, we don't have the funding these people have. We are bootstrapping our businesses in the beginning. But yeah, just to make that one last point of how we built with Victoria and showing face online and the importance of it, is we can't count how many times people have come in that have found us on Instagram and walked in and told Victoria the first thing, the reason why I booked with you is you felt so friendly and kind online. And that's what made they have the option to search through Medspas. We are the most expensive solo esthetician in our whole city, arguably probably the state, and more expensive than the Medspas for what services that we offer. So when people are coming to us, they're not finding the cheapest one. They're going to the most expensive. So when they're diving in and doing their research, the reason why they're picking Victoria is because of the way she shows up online, which now when it comes to brand, we'll get ready to kind of segue into a few things. We do have quite a few avenues of what our brand is with Google reviews, very consistent. We have over 100 Google reviews. Victoria shows her face online, and then we have a beautiful website. But the thing that they come and say is they don't say, your website was so beautiful, why book? Now that added to it, but what they did say is you felt so kind, and I felt comfortable coming to see you, and that's because she shows up.
Yeah. Well, so that being the first point, be a human, or show your humanity, I would say, because it doesn't have to, if you don't like being on camera, you better have somebody at the practice that loves being on camera, at least somebody. So number one, be a human. And number two is, and you kind of just started hinting at it.
Showing up across the internet. What was the exact line you had there?
Diverse content. Be diverse in your spread across. So what's the value of having diversity in your marketing channels rather than just being like, no, I'm 100% on Instagram and that's it?
Yeah, and I think this is where, this is where the levels, as we are kind of going in with you guys, we're going a little bit deeper. We're giving you more homework to do. We're giving you more things to pay attention to, because you can show up insanely consistent on Instagram, but when people hit your website and it's a mess, they don't know what to book, they don't know where they're going, you're not gonna close, you're not gonna convert. And we've learned a lot of this from Jared, but it also, from the beginning of the business, I knew it was extremely important of kind of client experience and flow before they get in the door. So when I say diversify, this doesn't mean you need to get on every single platform. You probably should be posting everywhere. If you're already making the content for one, post it on all. Mm-hmm. You already did the work. You did the hard part.
And you don't know where it's going to thrive. Like my YouTube Shorts do triple the numbers that any of my other platforms do. So TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube Shorts crushes for me. And I wouldn't have known that unless I just posted it everywhere. And now I can see, okay, great. They crush over there. I'm going to make sure I post as much content as I can on that.
Exactly. And that is important, but to kind of, make sure we're not, pushing everything on socials today, but making sure your brand is showing up correctively anywhere there's a touch point with a client, I think is really important. And that's where things like Google reviews, they've been one of the biggest they hit the nail on the head for a lot of the clients is maybe they fall in love with Victoria on Instagram, but then they go right over to Google and go, has she ever seen? And that's where, Instagram is an amazing tool and should be used correctly. Or there should be a lot of energy put in there, but also a lot of people can grow on Instagram now, right? And you have to have some social proof with, are people coming in and are they happy with your services? And that's where I say Google reviews would be one of the most important things outside of Instagram. I guess they're all most important. I got to stop saying that because all of these things are extremely important.
And then outside of the Google reviews, your website is most important. Would be the outside of that, a good YouTube channel is most important.
Yeah, that's where I found myself going there. But yeah, I'd say that was. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Jared, but I almost feel like those would be the big three would be your social presence online, your Google reviews, and then your website. And then with website, your booking link, I think would also be a pretty big one. Do you want to add anything from there?
I want to add one, yeah, because you need to show. Here's the deal: you need to show up when people search. So whether it's Google or AI, you need to show up when they scroll. So when they open up social media, there's your face. And the most important, in my opinion, and I would genuinely say this is the most important for you to focus on. And if you don't have this sector of marketing covered, your clinic is not going to thrive this year, is socialization. So you need to show up when they search, show up when they scroll, and show up when they socialize, meaning that the community is talking about you. And Chris alluded to this a moment ago. Building community is the strongest marketing tool that you can possibly use ever for your clinic. And I can't tell you the amount of clinics that come to me. We'll do a marketing consultation, and I'll say, so what's worked? That's typically what I'll ask people in the very beginning. What's worked for you so far? How have you gotten leads? And they'll invariably say word of mouth, word of mouth. Word of mouth, word of mouth. Now, some people have a real word of mouth strategy where it's like, oh yeah, we're for a friend and you both get 10% off your next appointment, or like they have like some sort of actual strategy, or they're using an app like Get Kudos, or they're using an app like RepeatMD to get good referrals. But most don't. And they say, oh, it's just word of mouth. Well, that's the socialization category because that trust is paramount. So the way that I think people can show up in the socialization side is like having events. It's building local referral partners so that people are sending them business, local hair salons or real estate agents or plastic surgeons that don't have a med spa in their business, or med spas who don't have an esthetician, if you're a solo esthetician or whatever. That side, building community, is the only one that only you can do. Because showing up on social, you can record your content and then delegate to somebody else to post. Website, delegate it to an agency. It's a waste of your time. Google SEO and Google Ads, waste of your time. Socialization and building community, you are the only one that can do that. You're the only one that can hug your patients.
You touched on that. That you are right. That is one of the big ones, and I got a banger for you too for this one. Make it easy for people to talk about you. Make it extremely easy. Give your clients the wording that makes it when they go talk to their friend and explain who you are and what you do, it's very streamlined. So to give you an example, our tagline for Skin by You, it's ever changing, ever evolving as our clients grow and change. And right now it's healthy and hydrated skin. guiding clients to healthy and hydrated skin. So when clients come in and Victoria is using this wording on Instagram and in person and on the website, when a client goes out and goes into the real world and talks to their friend and they go, what does your esthetician do for you?
They say, my skin is so dry, I need help. They say, you know who you should go to.
Somebody who has an expertise in healthy and hydrated skin. And how we identified that in itself was the clients that we have. We always talk about your dream clientele, your ideal clientele, and what were they asking for? What were they saying they needed and were looking for? The other big one is anti-aging. I was always really against it for a long time, but Victoria the other day came back to me and she was like, Chris, they all just keep saying anti-aging. And as much as I want to fight against the grain and go, it's a buzzword, it's used so often, if the clients are using it and asking for it, and that's how they're identifying you helping their concern, it's your responsibility to use that in your marketing.
We have that with Medspa. There's a lot of clinics who are like, we're not a Medspa. We're an aesthetic center of excellence. And I'm like, yeah, unfortunately, guess what they're searching on Google? They're searching Medspa near me. They're not searching aesthetic clinic of excellence near me. You can use that in your branding if you want, but like sometimes, exactly what you're saying, if it's like fighting anti-aging, but there's thousands of searches, like anti-aging facials near me, you're like, oh, let's borrow it.
Yeah, and you can, like I said, you can build your branding around. I like that. Like you can still use those things, but you can only fight against the grain so long when you go, this is how clients identify with what they're looking for, and you got to make it easy for them. But make it easy for people to talk about you. I think that's a really, really important a tool there as you build your business, and finding that tagline, finding that slogan, finding those words that you're using constantly internally, and then giving those to the client. So that way, what really this big awakening for me was, I was at the park once and I was talking to a woman as our kids were playing, and I'm a stay-at-home dad, so I definitely spark up a lot of conversation there. And I said, oh, my wife is an esthetician. And she says, what's that? And I'm like, well, she focuses on like, she's just like microneedling.
You laughed and pointed at her. You said, ha ha ha. You said, you don't know.
But I realized I was struggling explaining the business that I'm a part of. Right? Yeah. I couldn't even elevator pitch the business that I built with my wife. And I realized, if I can't identify it because Victoria is not using those words enough with me, how do I explain it to somebody on the street? And your clients are going through that same struggle of when somebody says your skin looks so good, what do you do? And they're like, I have a skin coach. It's like, sign me up, right? Like, and we don't use that, but I do like that one a lot as well. But making it really easy for your clients to go out and talk about you is extremely important.
There's a clinic in Tampa called Bevel Up, and their tagline is "the place for the face." Come on, dude.
Yeah,
it is, and it's their guiding light. It's their guiding light for their services. So, like, if someone's like, "Oh, you should bring on, Emcella or Cool Tone or something for the body," and they're like, "No, we are the place for the face," and that's that. Yeah. And it creates little advocates out in the community where somebody goes, oh my gosh, my face has an issue. They say, I know where you should go. You should go to the place for the face. Like, it's like cake, it's like Toys R Us was a brilliant brand name, because it's like, that's where you go for toys, and that's that's that.
That's us, right? That's us right
exactly.
Here. And that, we don't want to go too much down too many rabbit holes, but that's the importance of niching, especially in the beginning. Niche down and then expand is kind of what Victoria and I's thought process is. And it doesn't mean you can't offer everything. It's just, when you're building in the beginning, it's really important to be known. It makes your marketing easier. It makes the referrals easier. It makes your life much easier, and then expand. As you can dial, you can fill the books up, then start to expand out. So that way people can go and talk about you. Because if you're the place that does everything, you're the place for nothing, right?
Oh, that's really good. Okay, so if you're trying to build a premium brand this year and you want to turn your brand into an asset, number one, make sure that you're a human behind the actual brand, or you've humanized your brand in some way. Number two, make sure that you have diverse, spread out content across the entire internet. Don't just hyper focus on one platform, but make sure that you have a good spread between searching, scrolling, and socialization, where you are the center of the conversation locally. And then lastly,
we had client experiences, which we have to touch. We have to touch on the in-person experience that clients come in and see you. And this is extremely important for your brand, that you can show up online and you can have the prettiest face and the prettiest location, the biggest med spa in town. But when clients come in that door, do they feel the same as they felt online? And there's a few things Victoria teaches about this a lot, especially just with confidence in general with clients. And we've all had experiences of walking into a small business and it feels like they're just as confused as you are. And this is supposed to be their building. And if you have a med spa, of course, your first touch point is going to be that receptionist, but actually making sure you have a system for that client experience, that there's a uniform of the way they communicate. And if you don't have a med spa and it's just you should also have a system. Like I mentioned before, Victoria is training our first esthetician. And when we start to train, we don't dive into, and of course, good facials are important and how to have good flow and all of those. They're very important. But there is a system for when the client walks in the door that Victoria teaches. There's a system for the consultation. Everything is systematized and it's the same every single time. That also makes it really easy for clients if two clients meet and they talk about you, they both have the same exact experience. When they walk in the door, Victoria greets you with a big smile on her face, welcomes you.
So what would be maybe a simple little template that the viewers watching this can borrow from? What's a simple little template that could be like, hey, look, this could be a simple flow that you can implement today in your clinic if you really don't have a system for when somebody walks in the door?
Yeah, they're very small things. It's just the direction. When a client walks in the door, of course, the simple things, the big smile on your face, the welcome, and immediately direct them. Direct them into what that experience is going to look like for them today. If it's grabbing a bottle of water, if it's signing in and then sitting down, but make sure if it's yourself or your receptionist that's directing the clients. Show that you guys are the experts. Your team is here to direct them and make them feel like this is the place that they need to be and that they should be at. And, of course, every business is so different. We just talked to a big med spa that's out in Atlanta, and they are trying to get their estheticians booked more. So they're building a system right now that every client gets a Visia scan before, as long as they're there, they should be there 15 minutes early, but they're sending them over to get that Visia scan and quick consultation before they go in. There's no hard sell. It's more just, hey, this is complimentary. Come get your Visia scan, see where you're at with your skin, and if you're interested, our estheticians would love to be here and help you out. So now that's a part of their system. So the minute they walk in, the receptionist is directing them to a bottle of water, getting them signed in and checked in and going, hey, here is our esthetician. She would love to offer you this free Visia scan today. Yeah. And now that's just building into that system.
Which Visia, secret weapon, by the way, for consultations. So we had a Visia at Chino Bays, and it was the same exact deal. Every single new patient that walked in got a Visia scan because the conversation that you can have in that chair is, hey, a normal picture is going to show you what is on the surface of your skin, which comes from weeks and months of what's going on beneath your skin. Visia is going to take a picture of what is going to happen to your skin in the next few months if you don't take care of it now. So it's going to show you what's happening underneath so that you know exactly what to do to look like what you want to look like. And so the Visia kind of gives you this ability to kind of fortune tell for the individual and say, look, this is realistically what's going on, and here's what you should do if you want to avoid, having some sort of a breakout or whatever. Or it'll address what's going on in your skin. So real secret weapon, having a good Visia skin analysis, or some other similar.
I think Visia is the best.
Visia
is
not
market.
A sponsor.
Arguably, I don't know. I haven't heard as amazing things like there is with the Visia, but that also locks you in with a before and after. A beautiful Visia's before and after.
Looks gorgeous. Looks
phenomenal.
Perfect.
Yes. And you can even use that for your inject your Botox and your filler before and afters. And of course,
and if you use our affiliate link below, you can get I would love. I need to get device affiliate links. For
these we need that device out of all the devices affiliate. But and it does lock in that before and after really early on. And like you just mentioned, it also it's not you saying, oh, your skin is rough. It's more just going, hey, check out your skin yourself. And these are the things this is this cool piece of machinery, this cool piece of tech that just shows you at that deeper level. And if they go, hey, I'm all good, I just want my Botox and get out of here, that's just fine. But it gives them a chance to see themselves, and you don't have to go, ooh, Look at those. What are those red spots there? Are you going to work on those? Yeah. But yeah, I think creating those client experiences that way, I think is extremely important for brand when it comes to showing up online.
So set expectations when they walk in the door, or give them direction, like you said. Set expectation for, hey, here's what it's going to look like, and you're telling them to do something so that immediately they feel trusted and they're in your hands. And then, obviously, probably goes without saying, try to run on time. You don't want people waiting in your lobby for hours and hours and hours. Every medical business that I work in, that's like mostly derm or mostly medical, all of their 1-star reviews are, it took me 2 hours to get an appointment. Every 1-star review is, I waited around too long. So obviously run on time. Is there any other tips on what that flow should look like when the patient is coming in?
I think this is where for you and your business, it goes back to being you, being who you are. What does that look like for you? And who is your clientele? What works best for them? What do they prefer? Do you need to build in some extra time to chit chat before or after an appointment? Is that what your clients are looking for? With us, having really premium services and high prices, we definitely elongate our services. 1, so Victoria doesn't go late, but 2, to give the clients that little extra love. If they want it, they can hang out and ask some more questions and then dive into some more skincare that they might be looking for. Or maybe have sometimes Victoria does, if they need an update consult before, even if they're coming in every single month, but something has changed in their routine, or they've had a breakout or something new happens, Victoria builds a little bit of time before those services to make sure the clients get exactly what they need and they're looking for. And every business is different. Every clientele is different. Certain services, certain industries, sometimes that quick in and out is what clients want. So if they want that, respect that. You saying making sure you're on time is important. But if you're selling yourself as this is the quickest place to get Botox in town where you could do it on your lunch break, then respect that, find that clientele, and have that sequence that goes, look how quickly we can make you feel loved and safe, but in and out of here as quick as possible.
Yeah. Take notes and remember things about people too. Again, not to stand over Bevel Up, but I just love them. Is they have a giant fridge in the back with like hundreds of different types of drinks. And anytime someone comes in, they write down on the chart what drink that person likes.
That's cool.
And I came in, we run their website. I came in just to come see their facility, and they knew that I drank at the time. Now I'm on obviously Uptime, not a
whiskey.
Yet.
They gave you a whiskey.
Yeah. They knew that I drank Peach Vibe Celsius, and they had it waiting for me at front desk because they knew I was coming in. And the front desk said, "Oh, Jared." I said, "Yeah." They're like, "Okay, this is for you." And I was like,
That's cool.
"You have a Peach Vibe?" They're like, "Yeah. We knew that you liked that." And I'm like. And that alone, and I talked to Rashay about it afterwards. I was like, do you do that? Like, was that for me? They're like, we do that for every patient that walks in. So if somebody loves Diet Coke, they have it waiting, ready to go. So when the person walks in, here's your cold, crisp Diet Coke ready to go. And they're just like, you love me. And it's such a simple thing. Like, have soft drinks ready to go or have things that people like ready to go.
I love those marketing
so
tactics too, is because they also create opportunities for clients to take pictures and share about their experience. And those are
I took a picture immediately and I was like, they knew that I love Peach Vibe.
Yeah, and those are like, I love those little things, and we've incorporated a lot of those, and that could become to your decorations in your spa and things that make it easy for, and that, like I just mentioned with your slogan, your branding, but all the things that you can do to make it easy for a client to talk about you, to share with you on social media, the better. Because I've had that question a lot of people go, how do I get them to post about me? And it's you can't just say, hey, post me on your Instagram. Make it easy for them to post you on there. We create an experience, create an area to take a picture in. All of those things in our first spa, which we rebranded, but we had this mural on the wall of this desert sunset, and it felt. Everybody took a picture of it. And that was the idea in the beginning. And we had a younger clientele at the time, so that's what they were looking for. But we created something that felt like I'm somewhere cool, right? That's all clients want. They just want to show off that they're doing something cooler than the person that follows them, right?
Yeah.
And
if
now,
I were to, Sorry, no, go ahead.
Oh, no, I just said now it's a much more calm vibe, much more serene. It feels more modern and clean. And now our older clientele like that. They like that, I'm at this almost mysterious, beautifully organized, gorgeous lime wash wall. You got the hydrofacial machine in the corner. But it does feel, we do have the same picture being taken by everybody that comes in. It's kind of the same kind of one or two corners that feel like it makes you feel a little rich when you take the picture online, right?
If I was to say one thing to clinic owners too about stuff like that, stop blaming your patients for not doing the things that you want them to do. If it's hard for you to get before and afters of them, it's because you are not teeing it up right. If it's hard for you to get reviews, it is your fault. Okay? Not their fault. Oftentimes I'll hear people, or you can't get your team to take social media videos and pictures. It's your fault. You're not teeing it up right. And if the moment you can own that and say, I'm not setting expectation. I'm not setting this up right. Then you can take ownership and you can make it better. But if it's the employees because nobody wants to be on social media, if it's the patients because no one wants to fill out a review, and no one wants to, how do you explain the hundreds of other businesses that are doing it just fine? How do you explain that? Where it's like, I was just on with a clinic earlier who had 750 5-star reviews, and they're like a couple years old. And I was like, how did you do that? Like, I don't know very many clinics at all who break past 500, and she was like, we just make it part of the process. When they're numbing, we give them an iPad and we have them sign in and fill it out while they're numbing. I'm like, that's great. So they have kind of cracked that code. But if you're going up to the patient and apologizing, like, oh, I'm so sorry, but can you give us a review? It'd mean a lot to us. That's different. So stop blaming your employees for not being on social. Stop blaming your patients for not wanting to have their procedures filmed or their before and afters used. Stop blaming them for not doing reviews, and start taking ownership of how you're delivering it.
That's
because
amazing.
If you deliver it better, people are going to be fired up, because people say, oh, no patient wants to be on social. It's like, well, that's not true. I have hundreds of clients I've worked with, and there's tons that get the majority of their patients to say yes. Yep. So it's a culture thing.
Yeah, that's so good. Just one quick tip for Google reviews too. We have a Google review card that we use that when you tap on their phone, it opens up immediately. It signs in, opens up their Google. So on the way out, Victoria will typically go, hey, I really appreciate you. As I'm building my clientele out more, I'm trying to find more amazing clients just like you. So you leaving this Google review for me helps me build this small business and find amazing people like yourself. You tap that on the phone, and 90% of the time in the car,
they're gonna do it.
And now they're fresh, they're thinking about their service, their skin feels good, they're happy. That's the best time to get that Google review. And that's where we've been able to lock those Google reviews in right there in the car before they even drive off. We've already lock that Google review in.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is huge. Well, I know that this has been a really long podcast, and I love it. So I wanted to thank you for coming on. Chris, if there's one thing that you want the audience to know about branding, what's the one thing that they can do today that is going to help them move forward with their personal brand?
I guess easily just show up. Just put yourself out there and show up online. Do not be afraid. Your life is the content. You are the content. You are a business owner. You are not like everybody else. You are not like your neighbors. You're not like everybody else on socials. You have a unique life and a unique perspective. And I think people forget that because we tend to compare ourselves to influencers online. We compare ourselves to the big med spa down the road. But you are interesting. And you do something special. And I've been saying lately, you are hurting potential people who are looking for you and your services by not showing up every single day. You are doing a disservice to the person out there who is looking for facial balancing. You're doing a disservice to the girl out there that is struggling with her skin and cannot find the right provider for them. So you're doing a disservice by not showing up. So show up, be yourself, wear your brand, be you. And it's so much easier than we all make it seem. We think everything has to be packaged into perfection, and we have to do what the influencer does. No, just be you. And yeah, there's a reason why you jumped into owning a business. You wanted to help people. You have an expertise and you want to help people, and showing up every single day is going to get you one step closer to that dream.
That is awesome. That's awesome. Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us today on The Patient Magnet. Guys, if you like this video, please subscribe, like this, and like the video and share it to somebody who needs to hear this. Or if you vehemently disagreed, fight us in the comments. We would love nothing more than to fight you in the comments. Chris, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way that they can do it? Follow you on Instagram? Or
yeah, Instagram is one of the best ways. We have the website that Jared built himself. We have the Optimize Aesthetics website. You can kind of go see everything that we're doing over there. We're very esthetician focused in business right now. We do believe there's a big hole in the market there for esthetician education and community and connection. So that's what we're really focused on the journey right now. Jared and I have a million business ideas that one day will open open the floodgates to other business owners and expand. But right now we have OptimizeAestheticsCo.com, Optimize Aesthetics on Instagram. Go follow Victoria at Skin by You. Go be inspired. We're constantly trying to push out new styles of content and find new ways to connect more with clients and other business owners on Skin by You. But yeah, go follow any of those, and then reach out to myself if you have any other questions, or Jared will give you a one-on-one consultation if you're interested in a website.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, Chris. Thank you for joining us. This has been awesome.